With that new semester, new year upon us, as parents and adults and mentors, we want to prepare these young people for all of the new life experiences ahead, and that includes having a very important but maybe difficult conversation about consent. So Dr. Laura McGuire is joining us. She is the author of a new book called The Sexual Misconduct Prevention Guidebook, and she's joining us with what must be some, have to touch on conversations before we send these young adults out into the world and into the freedom that they may be experiencing, some for the very first time. Good morning.
Good morning. Thank you so much for having me.
I like the clarity of the title of your book. So let's dig in right from the beginning. Where do these conversations start, and what's a parent to do and bring up if they haven't gone there yet?
Absolutely. This is a topic that many parents are passionate about starting with their children, but they don't know where to begin. So I always suggest really clarifying your why. Why do I want to talk to my young adult going out into the world for the first time in this new way about this topic? And what it really boils down to is this is a life skill. Just like you're going to be talking to them about their finances and remembering to do their laundry, you want to talk to them about what consent looks and feels like in everyday life.
And they're living in these circumstances when you're moving in, say, think about dorms or, frat houses and parties and lots of freedom, introducing the presence of alcohol oftentimes. So how do you start to practice those habits that make sure that somebody is asking themselves, do I know that this is mutual? This is verbal, right? This is getting into the habit of verbally saying, is it okay if I fill in the blank?
Absolutely. So it is verbal, and we want to normalize that. And so many times in our culture, that just isn't present. People aren't used to saying those things, but it's also nonverbal, right? It's being able to read people's body language, even if they're kind of shrugging, yeah, okay, but everything else is giving us a different message, paying attention to that, responding to that. And if it's not a clear and enthusiastic yes, backing off and continuing that communication.
And what about clear guidance for when there is the presence of impairment on one or both parties?
Yes. Anytime we're impaired, then our yes is not a yes, right? Or even a maybe isn't a yes. And so being clear on that, that doesn't mean one sip of wine is impairment, but when we get to any kind of gray area, that's a clear no.
And we've always, of course, known to hope to raise our children that no means no, but it goes a lot deeper than that, because that's just too simplistic a way to look at these circumstances.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Because we know in most cases, saying no is really hard. It's hard for cultural reasons. It's hard when there's impairment, and it's hard when there's social pressure. And so really making sure there's authentic communication and clear guidelines on what that looks like is so crucial, and something we can practice as a family. This is not just for sexual situations. This is for any kind of interpersonal communication and dialogue.
Yeah, any pressure that you might experience from friends or peers to do anything, jump off, well, what moms always say, jump off a cliff. If your friends tell you to do it, are you going to do it? But it is easy to, especially when you're young and you're fitting in, to get caught up in a moment, even though maybe your internal compass is telling you, I don't really want to do this. Exactly.
And there are additional factors like being in a relationship with someone, reminding that young people that even if they've been dating a long time, even if they're engaged or married to somebody, consent is always crucial.
Well, great conversations to have, and this seems like the right way to do it. Hey, plop that book out there. Okay, let's start talking about this as a family exercise. Where do we get this book? Everywhere?
Yes, you can get both books, Creating Cultures of Consent and The Sexual Misconduct Prevention Guidebook, everywhere that books are sold.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
A safe school year to all.